Yes, welcome to another edition of the No Stay Project here on my YouTube channel. Glad that we're still here. Glad you're still tuning in to the big show, which, as you know from last week, we'll be winding up here in a few months. Yeah, let's see how it goes. We'll see if I get a cease and desist order, if they just take my channel down. We'll see. Hopefully, this crap with the Arizona bar is going to be dismissed, and that'll be that. So let me see if I can adjust that there, get that a little better. But it is May 2nd, 2020. Glad to be with you here. I am not going to be taking callers on today's show. Well, I'll take a Skype call. I can take a Skype call if you want to instant message me, and I can bring you up on Skype. That's fine. And just for those who may not have heard last week's show, this is going to be the only source of the show. I am no longer able to take the time to edit the audio and put the MP3 up on markstevens.net. So, but speaking of, I do appreciate the still having 2 or 3 people who who help support the show. I will use that towards keeping markstevens.net. Again, if markstevens.net does suddenly come down this month or next month, it's not because I'm pulling it. It's because the Arizona bar decided to hit my host with an order to pull the site. So, but I do appreciate the support. Yes, aloha. Rick, hey Mark, remember me? I don't remember every name. I should remember if you got 4 months in the county jail, if you want to put in why that is. And if you believe that you got 4 months in the county jail because of anything you may have heard me express to you. So I love that. Yeah, like I have power to put people in jail. So, I did see somebody did make a complete backup of the website, the articles and whatnot. So hopefully they can make a link for that available soon. And I can put that on my Facebook page, which, hey, Facebook, it's free. Doesn't mean that the bar can't issue an order to pull down my Facebook page. That's that, I don't ask these killers, thieves, and liars. So don't leave. I'm not leaving right now, but we'll see what happens. I think as I move into different ventures, I may still come back and do an occasional show when time permits. But I'm not going anywhere for the time being. It's going to be at least another month and a half, 2 months of shows. But, somebody pointed out, why don't you get other anarchists? Why don't you get some guests on the show? And that's a really, really difficult thing to do and this is what gets me, the fascination a few people have with this channel. It's an extremely small, almost completely insignificant channel. I barely get 500-600 views anymore. And for somebody who has been who's had the channel for this long, who's been doing the show for that long, that's dreadful. That is absolutely dreadful. Of course, it doesn't stop the trolls from saying I have a massive ego. I'm like, yeah, I have such a massive ego. I spend 5-10 years building a channel that barely gets 600 views. When I could do, I could have a family, a 12-year-old boy do unboxing of stuff that he gets off of Amazon and get millions and millions of views. Hey, it's good to see everybody logging in there. Ricky called in. I had the false allegation oh, yeah, that was bad. Yeah, that was bad. Those things unfortunately happen. And contrary to what this bald lawyer in Kansas would lead anyone to believe, I'm not the one that is the economic predator. I'm not the one who is taking advantage of emotionally, distraught people and manipulating them. No, that is the guys who call themselves government with the help of the government arm of the judicial branch, of course, the lawyers. The lawyers. So. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Frank Rizzo 3. If you want to join me on the show, we have to do it through Skype because, hey, it's free. So, hey, nothing a month. Yeah, we can handle that. I can do free. So, hey, Spencer, good to see you. You're logging on there. I thought what I would talk about today, I'm probably not going to have as long a show. I just don't have the luxury anymore of being able to spend the time on a show. If I was still on LRN, if I was still on LRN and I wasn't taken off of the live schedule, the past 6 months I wouldn't have been able to do a 3-hour broadcast anyway on Saturday. So I would have been put into the podcast loop anyway because I just don't have the time. So I'll see what we can do. Today, maybe we can get a half hour or so. Anyway, I may also be cutting the show to just Saturday or just Wednesday. So I don't have the luxury of time. Mark, can we get another copy of your book called Adventures in Legal Land? Well, I have ebooks of that available. And I don't know if I can distribute that right now without getting into, having this bald lawyer pull more of his hair out. I appreciate that. I thought it was pretty good. It holds up. What I'm going to talk about, I got to get into some actual substance here. And so I tentatively titled the show is How I Defend Myself in Court and Why. Now, I know I'm being trolled. I know I'm under surveillance. I know that every word is being transcribed probably. But you're allowed, according to their rules, and this is just for me, I'm not giving anybody any suggestions to do anything. I'm not going to discuss anybody's legal rights. I don't need any trouble from this fat bald lawyer who's got nothing else better to do than troll my show. A show that barely gets 700 views, but there are untold thousands and thousands of people that are in my wake that I have literally destroyed their lives. My gosh. Yeah, we're all on surveillance, but I know this show is. I know. So I've got to tread lightly here. According to their rules, they said that I, not you, I have a right to defend myself. I don't have to be a member of the bar to defend myself. And so I have defended myself quite a few times, unfortunately. This is 3 times against the Arizona bar. I was victorious the first 2 times. Of course, any lawyers other than Fran Johansson will turn around and say that that's ridiculous. I've never had any success whatsoever. What I will say is, while we're still up, if you go to someone just mentioned that. That's why. If you go to markstevens.net/successes, you will see evidence to the contrary. Now, it has been pointed out to me that in the last one that I did post, it was not disclosed to me all the information, all the context on 1 or 2 of the dismissals. I will still say that damage control and whatever the circumstances are that you made a deal, if you make a deal and it's substantially less than what they were trying to get, you've defended yourself, you've limited the amount of damage that they did. But one of the worst criticisms, one of the most dishonest criticisms has ever been leveled at me is that I or no one else has ever had any success whatsoever in court. If something was thrown out, it had nothing to do with the defense. Imagine that. Could you imagine someone like Jerry Spence winning his law firm winning yet another criminal prosecution? Because Jerry Spence was undefeated, the only lawyer in American history to be undefeated in criminal prosecutions as a defense attorney. Well, yeah, you won every single criminal prosecution, Jerry, but had nothing to do with you. The judge was just pissed off at the prosecutor. Yeah. I seriously doubt that they would be leveling that same kind of criticism. But The fact is, the Bar Association has attacked me 3 times. And Fran Johansson was at the time the head of the UPL department of the Arizona State Bar. And they backed off based on the information you provided. But if circumstances change, then we will pick up the investigation again. So even if this one, I can't get dismissed, I'm still 2 for 3 against the Arizona Bar Association. And other people have read the book, they have listened, and they've prepared on their own. People without any input from me whatsoever directly. And they've been able to even not only limit the damage that these actual predators are intending to cause them, but they've actually gotten a lot of stuff dismissed. So not only have I gotten things thrown out, but we look at Helen in Sussex, England, who not only got it thrown out, she had costs awarded against the prosecution. Why? Because the way I defend myself and the way others have been encouraged, have been inspired to do the same, is to look at it as a skeptic, as an anarchist, in that we do not accept the concept of a ruling class, not the concept or the practical reality of a ruling class, that it is immoral and it's unethical, that it violates the basic moral or ethical principle of live honestly, injure no one, give every man his due. And that's how it should be measured. And if you measure, so if you are a skeptic, or, I'm a skeptic and I don't accept it as true, I don't accept the claim as true unless it's proven, I'm going to weigh everything against that. Why is the Bar Association attack against me completely unethical? I'm not even talking about just this lying lawyer from Kansas, because they are just men and women who force the community to give the money. If I acted in the same manner as the Arizona state government, and I forced people in the community to give me money, and I promised all sorts of nice things to them with what I would do after forcing them to pay me, it doesn't matter. I'm a crook. And so are they. And so someone's saying here, yeah, no sacred cows. So the difference in the way I do things, and I am not advocating anyone follow me. You can research and do things on your own. You can, as an adult, you can investigate, and as a skeptic, you can look at the facts yourself. You can either confirm or deny the facts that I'm talking about, and you can either agree with the logic and see or not. But anyone who's going to make a choice on whether they're going to defend themselves against an attack by these economic predators, that's their choice. I'm not advocating that anyone defend themselves. Actually, I think it's fine to advocate that you defend yourself after a cost-benefit analysis, or depending if you're an activist. I applaud it. But the manner in which you're going to go about doing that is completely up to you. And Mark, do you know about the Bernard Kerik story? He was the NYPD commissioner at one point in time. Yeah, he went to prison. And the impeached president has had a love affair with Bernard Kerik, even after his own lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, has publicly distanced himself from Bernard Kerik. So this is just me, I want to look at the situation with a clean slate. I want to gather the facts. I want to look at what I can prove. I look at the arguments and the claims that are being used against me, and I see if the facts support them. I see if the logic is there. That's pretty much the starting point, is a blank slate. So you look at the Bar Association. The Bar Association is literally a part of the Arizona government. They have an oath of office. They are officers and counselors of the court. It's the judicial branch. It is one of the co-equal branches of government. And they claim, and this is true of any attack by the so-called government, they claim that because I'm physically in Arizona, that their magical laws, a written instrument from 1910, I think it was effective in 1912, February of 1912. And they believe that this not only applies to me, but that it creates obligations. So if they subpoena me or they summons me by virtue of this written instrument, I'm legally obligated to comply. And where the divergence is, and why those who support the government and see it as a legitimate organization, completely ignoring the facts, just no, we're not even going to look at it. That's why government indicted Adventures in Legal Land had the 3 monkeys. That's why those were on the back of the book. We'll turn a blind eye to that. We're not, no. We're not going to look behind the curtain. You have to accept. That's what they did. That's what they will tell you. That's what they come on this show, and that's what they put in the stupid comments in the chat. You have to accept that that claim is true. And the fact that I refuse to do that, they say it's frivolous. They say it has no merit. They don't try to explain why it has no merit. They don't try to explain that for any logical, ethical reason why they can make a foundational claim against me, but they don't have to prove it. And this is why, chief, and among the reasons why I can conclude that no proceeding against me in front of the bar or any court, any political court, why that I can't get a fair trial. So one of the things that I mentioned is the United States government, which is a criminal organization, but that's not part of the argument. Knowing in advance that if I challenge their assertion of personal and territorial jurisdiction over me, knowing that they were going to just label it frivolous, what I did was because the whole thing is well, it's frivolous if it has no basis in law or fact. All right, well, we've got the fact part already straight. That we've got that. There's no only a half idiot's going to dispute that. What about legally? Well, no less an authority than the United States government takes the exact same position that I do with the International Criminal Court in The Hague. So you may not agree with my argument, but you can't honestly say that it's frivolous, that it's not based in fact and law, because it's the official position of the United States government when in regards to the International Criminal Court in The Hague. We didn't agree to this. You don't have jurisdiction here. So frivolous doesn't mean it's wrong. Frivolous means it's so lacking in merit. So I got the facts. I got a solid, I no less than the United States government's official position. Are they going to come out and they're going to say, well, the United States' official position with the ICC in The Hague, that's frivolous? Is that what they're going to, I don't put it past them. I don't put it past them. But if you're wiping the slate clean and you're just examining the arguments that they're raising, and you're not doing it through the rose-colored glasses of statism, you're not doing it with all the prejudice and the predetermined judgment that when they say X, it's true, and they don't have to prove it. See, that's one of the things that you know, as a skeptic, we can do to make things easier. Don't look at the argument. Don't look at the context of the argument. Just call it X. X is true. Do you have any evidence to prove X is true? I don't need any. What? This is what I'm up against. This is what I'm up against. Someone's saying the courts no longer follow the U.S. Constitution. They follow when it suits their purpose. They damn well do follow it when they want to. And dare I say, sometimes even when they don't want to, depending on how much attention is on the case. Judge Navarro did dismiss against the Bundys. Why? Because due process was grossly violated by Stephen Myrie and his team. So we can't say they don't, because they do. But getting back to how and why I defend myself. The why. Why would I wipe the slate clean? Because you're not supposed to look at the facts. You're not supposed to look at it and have your judgment clouded. You don't want we're not supposed to have our investigation clouded. But if you've got people coming into the situation who say X is true and you cannot challenge it, you have to accept that. I don't know. That just smacks of dishonesty. I mean, why do I have to accept that as true? Oh, because it's a special type of argument. It's a special type of claim, and only a bullet or a ballot will address it. Who's raising the frivolous argument here? So this is what I'm up against with the bar, and this is what I've been up against every time I've had to go to court. And yeah, I've won more cases, more complaints that were against me than. But of course, like anybody else, because we're dealing with criminals, yeah, I have lost. And you got to expect that, unless you're Jerry Spence in a criminal proceeding. So we look at the facts. We look at the logic. What do the facts tell us? Does my physical presence in Arizona, geographically, what does that tell us in and of itself? What do those facts all by themselves tell us? Just that I'm physically here in Arizona. The argument is, if you're physically in Arizona, those are the facts, then the laws apply. How does my physical location prove this written instrument applies to me? And instead of even trying, I don't have to. Although it would be interesting if they went on the record in this proceeding and wanted to try to use Bill Montgomery and Scott Bales, their argument. The reason why the laws apply to me now is because they prosecuted and put other people in prison. And if they did something like that, I'm sure they, just like Scott Bales, they would laugh and wave it off if I said exactly how does prosecuting somebody else prove it applies to me. See, this is one of the things that makes it so frustrating when you are attacked, because the arguments that they're using are so bad, but they're pointing a finger at me saying that I'm raising a frivolous argument. I'm not the puppet, you're the puppet. It's the same kind of stupid deflection tactic. It doesn't fool anybody with half a brain in their head. Just keep yelling frivolous enough, they'll agree. But you see, the idea of having a fair trial or an independent arbiter is in a jury is because they are supposed to be coming into it with a clean slate that either the prosecution makes their case beyond a reasonable doubt or they don't. But if they're coming into the situation, especially with me with the bar, where their mind is so shut to any suggestion that they have to condescend and actually prove something to me. Prove our claim? How about Fongo? What do you think this is? What the hell do you think this is, everybody? Do you actually think that this is supposed to be a fair proceeding? But that's what happens. We go in there and they automatically start from step one. Or step two, rather. They go to step two and they skip step one, which is the foundational claim. The claim that everything rests on. Yeah, but Mark, it's political. That's a political question. I get so tired of hearing that. Just because you frame it that way doesn't make it any less fair that you cannot challenge it. Well, they can make the claim all day long. You just can't challenge it. And that's as simple as it needs to be. My position is, and again, this is for me, if you make a claim against me and I can't challenge it, then I can't defend myself. You see, you don't need a law school education. I don't need a law school education to understand that. I can tell when something's fair or not. Oh, but is it fair within their rules, Mark? Okay. Yeah, I've done whole videos on this. Whole videos. The act of taking jurisdiction may not offend traditional notions of fair play and substantial justice. Due process says that at a bare minimum, I have to have notice and opportunity to defend, and that defense has to be meaningful. They're making a claim we're calling X. And everything else they've said depends on X. And I can't defend against it. Any half idiot can see that's not fair. Any half idiot can see someone screaming, either shoot the legislature dead or vote them out, is out of their mind. That's not the only option. The only option, it's this false dichotomy. Shooting government agents or voting them out is a false, it's a false choice. I'm going to pick door number 3. I'm going to educate people into what I have done and other people did it of their own choice, not because I argued that they should. Letting people know what these people are. Exposing them for the criminals that they are. Why? Because ethics matter. Not ethics starting from a certain point that you can't look behind. Live honestly, injure no one, give every man his due. There's not a single shred of evidence that this bald lawyer from Kansas, not a single shred of evidence that I have violated that ethical principle. Live honestly, injure no one, give every man his due. Not a single shred of evidence. Yet, the evidence against the bar and the Arizona state government is, it's a Mount Everest of evidence against them for violating that principle. Derek Gonzalez, jurisdiction exists in the mind, and if you go in as an actor for the state, they will be happy to play with you because you do not know who you are. You know, I can't believe that. Hopefully, that Derek, you're not a long-time listener, because this idea that it has anything to do with your consent. Nope. Even if there weren't guns directly pointed at your head, the threat is always there. You either participate when they say, let me rephrase, excuse me, Kansas, I either comply when they say and how they say, or they will attack me. They have a force continuum to get what they want. I don't want these comments because you're dead wrong. You're dead wrong, Derek. They are a criminal organization. The jurisdiction is the power to act. They are willing to use force. They can and will use force against you. They're not trying to contract you. So if there's new viewers, new listeners, they're not trying to contract with you. They're not trying to trick you into a status so that they can legally do what they want. They don't give a damn about where you were born. They don't give a damn about how you spell your name or if you even have a legal name. That's right. It's comply or die. So, again, to get back, that truth underlies why I do things the way I'm doing it, because the whole thing is unfair. If you strip out all the BS, if you strip out all the conditioning, all you're talking about is men and women forcing you to comply. It's just like that 4-inch complaint that I showed a few weeks ago on the show. If I do not comply with them, they will come after me. They're not asking me to do anything. They're telling me. Now, imagine I sent threats to these people at the bar. All I did was treat them exactly the same way they were treating me. And I threatened that if they didn't participate, I would take action against them. Yeah. J-Back, they, them, those delve into answering the question they wish you'd asked rather than the question you actually asked. Yeah. If they even get into any dialogue on it at all. Usually it's just objection is overruled, move on. And if you bring it up, we've already made a ruling. Asked and answered, already ruled on. No, actually it hasn't. It's just like the deflection. Once I get that tax agent to a point where they're admitting they don't have any evidence to support their claim. Well, instead of answering the question, you can tell from the you got them. They're backed up. You got them dead to rights. And they go right to, but how are things going to get paid for? How are all these services going to get paid for? Not a relevant issue, is it? Answer the question. Well, let's deal with just what we're talking about right now. If you want to talk about how the roads are going to get paid for without compulsory taxation, more than happy to do it another time. Do the right thing right now. Do the right thing. So I don't have too much of my own stuff up at markstevens.net, but there's plenty of evidence of other people who made the choice for themselves and defended themselves and got things tossed out. Motion to dismiss has been granted more than a few times. We've had where the judge did not just outright deny the motion to dismiss and just let the prosecution to actually prosecute their case. And quite a few times the prosecution has filed a nolo prosequi, or they declined to prosecute. So we've had success. And I hope that even when I'm not doing the show anymore, because the videos are all there, that people can see the value in defending themselves. Value I see is that I'm going to defend myself the way I've investigated and I believe is the best way to do it. And say, well, what about do it? There are other ways. Yes, I could defend myself in other ways. I've defended myself in a number of ways in this ridiculous complaint by this bald lawyer from Kansas. Could a lawyer do a better job? I think if I had hired a lawyer, I think they would have given the arguments more credibility. That's for sure. They can't stand when we defend ourselves. Can't stomach it. Yeah, I'll go back to that old one here in Phoenix. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when unto a lawyer we fail to cleave. That was actually on a minute entry order against somebody where a judge in Phoenix threw out a jury verdict in his favor. And all through that trial, he berated this guy for not getting a lawyer. He won, I think it was a 10-1 jury. I think it was against Smitty's, the supermarket chain. Did it, had the audacity to defend against this massive corporation and their $700 an hour lawyers. And he won. He won it was at least a 9-3 jury verdict. I saw the order. The guy was out there for a couple of years protesting this judge. And the judge was eventually censored by the Arizona Supreme Court. He wrote that on the order. Berated the guy. I know that they can't stand when we defend ourselves. Hell, say for me, that's reason enough. Oh, it's going to piss this guy off. Maybe I will defend myself. The other thing, too, is there's plenty of evidence with these lower level cases that, hey, I've done pretty well. A lot of people have done pretty well. And what the evidence says to me is I got at least as good a job done as a lawyer would have. And I saved myself $50,000. I didn't have to mortgage my house. Yeah. Do you go look for lawyers? Go scout them. Even sole practitioners. See how much their bottom line is of a retainer, and why. Depending on the size of the litigation, you're mortgaging your house to pay for a lawyer. But I'm the one who's emotionally, manipulating vulnerable people. Yeah, please. So that's a bit about. I do things the way I do it because I'm a skeptic, and I think the burden of proof, which is supposed to be on them, I think it has to be met. Some may argue that's pie in the sky. Well, if you're going to defend yourself, that's part of the rules. That supposedly. So, yeah. I refuse to accept, as a matter of principle, that if somebody makes a claim against me, that they bear the burden of proving it. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm not making it up. I'm not trying to force and tell people, oh, this is a brand new legal strategy. No, I'm using the tried and true. Because if you go to the Call of Shames, you can hear dozens and dozens of examples of me speaking with actual bureaucrats, not people on my chat, not trolls who hang on every single word. The people who are actually making attacks out there. Those people totally unable to prove their claim is true. Ethically, morally, even under due process, they're supposed to leave me alone. They don't. Because we're not dealing with ethical people. Hey, Palm Springs. I used to go past there every single week. Sometimes I've gone past Palm Springs twice in the day, going to San Bernardino from Phoenix and then going back to Phoenix. So hopefully, maybe I'll be spending a little more time in California for some business things. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I appreciate everyone tuning into the show today. I didn't get anyone to contact me on their Skype. So no calls today, but just talking a bit about how I do things and why. Clean slate. No sacred cows. If they're going to make a claim against me, they should prove it. And if anyone's going to argue, oh, they don't have to do that, they're the ones they are the problem. They are the ones that are not being honest. They're the ones that are not being ethical. Anytime someone says, oh, they can make that claim, they don't have to prove it. Oh, good Lord, we're getting this one again? In their definition, a human being is a monster? Only man, woman, or the people? Come on. Really? 2020? This 90s garbage is still being done? What if you were charged with the crime of not taking mandatory vaccinations? How would you handle it? I'd handle it the same way. Where is the evidence of jurisdiction? That's how I would handle it. Where is I take their actual claim. You got to know the actual claim. Their claim is, I'm physically here in Arizona, the laws apply. Okay. Once I know what the claim is, now I can attack it. And by attack, I just mean questioning. Someone's saying, is my website down? No, it's not down. I'm looking at it right now. I just did a refresh. I would not suggest anyone signing up for the newsletter. There might be a problem with that because I'm not going to be updating the website. I'll keep the website there for as long as I can. I'm not going to update it. So you're not going to be missing anything. Why aren't people liking the video? Well, yeah, 31 of 81 have liked it, so that's fine. Somebody, I think I had mentioned it briefly before, but why I don't have people coming on? Yeah, it was there was a pattern established that the channel is too small. One in particular said, "Call me when you have at least 100,000 subs." So, yeah, that's why the show is never ever. So that's the reason why I kept doing it. I thought at some point I'd be able to eventually reach more people. That never happened. Again, people have taken my work and portions of my video, and they've got hundreds of thousands of views on some of their videos. That's great. It never came my way. There's no manipulation. It's not that the man is trying to keep me down. Oh, your message is just too powerful. No. Contrary to some people, I don't have a massive ego. I can readily admit it's an extremely small, insignificant channel. Not many people are going to notice when I stop. It was never going to take off. I never was going to pander and say just what people wanted me to say. There are so-called anarchists that do that, and they have millions because people donate so much to them. But they'll say anything. They'll say anything to get a click. And I just refuse to do that. And I also refuse to be that guy. Smash that subscribe button. Hit the like. Go for the bet. I can't. I could throw vomit in my mouth when people do that. Smash that subscribe button. So if that's what you got to do to get a big channel, it just wasn't something. It wasn't a line I was willing to cross. So, Orange Man Bad Rants probably cut down subs. Hell no. Jay Backman, I have had this channel for 10 years. I didn't get any views in 2015. It didn't make a difference. And for this channel, people would tune in to get some information about traffic court or whatnot. And then they go. 18,000, almost 19,000, almost 20,000 subs. And I get 800 views a video. So it's not because I talked about the impeached president. That had nothing to do with it. I got to be a big boy here. Okay. It is a major regret that I continued spending so much time on a channel that was not going anywhere. But I kick myself for that, and I'm trying to at least make things right now. So it just was one of those things. This show it accomplished what I wanted it to, and it did help people, and it has helped people, and hopefully it will continue doing that. Do a call in with Jimmy Dore. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I was falsely accused of aggressive marketing, and I'm certainly not going to do something now to give this bald lying lawyer a reason. He's calling in, he's promoting his work. That's aggressive. So that's why I'm not going to do that. I have done that. I have years and years ago. 10, 15 years ago. Yeah, I used to spend, more time than I should have getting booked on other shows. Hey, come on, guys. I was on Coast to Coast. I was on coast to coast. At a certain point in time, you gotta, the sunk cost fallacy kicks in. Okay. You gotta cut your losses and move on. So if I can actually get on coast to coast, 150 some odd affiliates and move 2 books, 2 or 3 books from being on coast to coast. Yeah. I'm starting to think, man, I should have packed it in 12 years ago. All right. Not that I don't want to discourage people. I'll still be doing the show for a while. I thank the few people that help support the show so that I could keep the website up for a bit longer. Again, if the website suddenly comes down, it's because the bar did it. So, but we'll see what happens. I appreciate people taking their time out on Saturday afternoon to listen to some schmuck from Long Island one more time. And I will be live on Wednesday. Yes. I'm losing track. I will be live on the Wednesday show. So again, I appreciate everyone tuning in, and we're live again on Wednesday afternoon. Salud.